right, and we're back. This is episode 33 of the Taproom Podcast. I'm your host, Mike. Got a good one this week. I had a ton of fun. I got to talk to Kate Bernot from Montana. She is the director of the North American Guild of Beer Writers. I don't know why that tongue twists me so much, but she was awesome. We had a really fun conversation. We got to talk about, obviously the craft beer scene in Miami. I'm not Miami. Wow, can't talk today. In Montana. And then we also got to talk about her craft beer journey. Also touristy stuff out there. I mean, obviously Montana is so majestic and beautiful out there. And also got to talk a little bit. We talked about Yellowstone, the actual Dutton ranch. I can't remember the name of it. We got to talk a little bit about that. But it was a really fun time. I'm recording this on a Saturday. So because early tomorrow morning, which when this will be out, it'll be technically today. I'm going to be recording over at Whittier Brewing. Going to talk to John over there, owner and head brewer. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have not been there, so I'm excited to go check it out and have a couple Brewskis down there, talk to him, hear about his journey in craft beer and stuff like that. So should be pretty good. But let's start it off right. And actually, before I do that, I do want to mention Drinking Buddy. Got to talk with Brian Wilder, who's the co-founder of Drinking Buddy, which is a after drinking aid. It's pretty freaking awesome, man. So all you have to do for Drinking Buddy is obviously take those. So you drink all day, do whatever you want. Obviously, drink responsibly. But say if you're drinking all day and you're going to be hungover tomorrow, all you have to do is pop 2 Drinking Buddies after your last drink or before you go to bed. Pop one of those, you'll be feeling right as rain the next morning. So what it kind of does is it prevents the negative effects of alcohol. It protects your liver, anti-inflammation, it reduces anxiety, stuff like that. So it's got a ton of great stuff in it. And you can actually go to drinkingbuddy.com. And if you use the code TAPROOM, you'll get 20% off your order. It is also available on Amazon as well. But if you want to show some support for the show, you can definitely go over to drinkingbuddy.com and use code TAPROOM for 20% off. All right, well, let's jump into the episode here, boys and girls. I'm actually really excited about these beers I got. I got one from Pure Brewing, which is, one of my absolute go-tos. I have absolutely all the faith in the world of Pure anytime they put out something. So I'm excited for this brewski. This one is called Pure West. It's a West Coast IPA. Clean, bright, hoppy. Let's do this. Let's crack her open, eh? Let's crack her open, you hoser. Oh, yeah. That was a good one. All right. Let's pour her. Oh, the aroma. Oh, the aroma. And it's coming in at 6.3%. If you haven't had a beer from Pure Brewing, you are seriously missing out. I think they have 3 locations in the San Diego area. I've been to a couple of them. Looks like this was canned on 6/2, so only a couple months old. Let's do this thing, but oh man, that smells so good. You know what? I thought it was going to be maybe a little clearer, but no, it's actually got a little haze to it. It's super floral notes off the top. Let's get in here though. Oh yeah. Pure, you sons of bitches, you did it again. Damn, that's good. I mean, you really the head retention on it is obviously ridiculous too. Because I just took a big old swig. But it really is. It's crisp. It's really really clean, but you do get that little bit of bitterness. I'm kind of wondering what the IBUs is on this. It doesn't say. But I want to say probably in the 30 to 40 range. But it's freaking bomb. I mean, this is really good. So Pure, I mean, I think I've said it on a show before. I don't think I've ever scored them lower than an 8. And rightfully so. They deserve it because they freaking, every time I have one of their beers, they just kill it. This one though, I am going to give this I'm going to give it a solid 9. This is really good. I thoroughly enjoy it. I could have a 4-pack of this and, be knocking them back and be right as rain. So I'm definitely going to give this a 9. Shout out to everybody at Pure. Going back to, I think it was episode 8 with Chris Leguizamon. Awesome dude. He does the beer education there. So definitely go down there and support, man. Like if you're in the San Diego area or if you're on vacation and you're going down that way, you want to have some awesome beer, check out Pure. I believe they used to sell pizzas. I'm not sure if they still do, so don't hold that against me if they don't. But this is awesome. I'm going to go in here for another drink because it's so damn good. Good stuff. All right. Since I'm recording on a Saturday afternoon, I will talk about SC. But there's still some games kind of going on. Florida lost to Kentucky. I actually picked them in one of my parlays. But Utah kind of blew that for me last night because Utah did lose to Oregon State. I was really hoping Cam Rising was going to come back, and I had taken Utah plus the 3.5, thinking Cam Rising was going to be back, but he did not play again. And now it's kind of going to be an uphill battle for Utah because if Rising is back next week, I mean, they kind of have to win out. They can't really lose another Pac-12 game because of how strong the Pac-12 is this year. Like, I don't think you can have a 2-loss team getting into the Pac-12 championship game. So it's gonna be a really long stretch moving forward, but we'll see. I mean, we're gonna see how it all plays out. SC ended up in a game that was way closer than it should have been, and I honestly felt like I knew Colorado was going to come out this week, especially after last week losing. Was it 48-6? I thought for sure, I was like, all right, well, they're going to come out, they're going to score some points because I mean, there's no way they come out, they're going to come out in this game and not be better than last week. And I honestly feel like Oregon has got a better defense. So SC won 48-41 today. Came down to an onside kick recovery at the end of the game. So SC was able to hold on and win it. But one thing I wanted to say is, because I think I said it back in it was like episode 105 when it was still Taps and Tailgates. I defended Alex Grinch, the defensive coordinator for SC, because I mean what he had last year was obviously, I don't want to use the word abysmal. It was just they had a really terrible defense outside of maybe 2-3 guys, and so I was like, okay, well, let's see what he does when they actually get some players, and they have gotten players, and the defensive line is a lot better. Like Bear Alexander, Jamil Muhammad, Romello Heights, better, and he's healthy. Anthony Lucas, so you have some dudes on the defensive line, but man, they Damani Jackson, and I know people may say oh, he's a 5-star kid or 4-star kid, but man, he was getting burned left and right. He cost a penalty in the first half, missing tackles, and honestly, I feel like that's SC's biggest problem is missed tackles. They gave up 3 or 4 really big plays that ended up resulting in touchdowns. So for SC fans out there, I don't know I think Grinch has got to go. They just can't, and they can't tackle. How is it that you bring in all these studs, you bring in all these really good players, really good transfers, and you bring people in, but they just can't tackle. I don't get it. It reminds me of the Lane Kiffin days, and to give Lane Kiffin a little slack back then, you had scholarship restrictions, so you could only use so many guys, so you couldn't really tackle in practice. But it shows how important tackling is. So, I mean, we'll see how that goes. Notre Dame's playing later on today. They are playing Duke. I think that was a 5.5-point spread that Notre Dame was favored by, and it's at Duke. But what I'll do is I'm going to preview a little bit of next week before we jump into the next Brewski and then jump into MLB and all that sort of stuff. Next week we got some games next week. LSU and Missouri should be a good one. SC's played Arizona. It's another 7:30 game. Fantastic. Mike's going to be up late that day. Oklahoma. I know 7:30 is not late, but Oklahoma's playing Texas. The Red River Shootout for potentially the last Oh no, they're both going to the SEC. I'm dumb. I wasn't thinking out that one. We're thinking that out. Let's see. In Oklahoma's right now 4-0. I mean, they're playing Iowa State. They should win that game, but the Cyclones always give them a game, so we'll see. Washington State is playing UCLA. I feel like that could be a sneaky good game. I mean, Washington State's 4-0. Oh, as of right now, UCLA is 3-1. I feel like, I mean, UCLA was in that game. You have a freshman quarterback. I feel like UCLA, could potentially make some noise in that game, and they're at home, so they're playing in the Rose Bowl. Alabama playing A&M. Let's see, Georgia and Kentucky. Could be a kind of lookout game maybe for Georgia. I know Georgia's got a great defense, still not really sold on the quarterback. They haven't really played anybody, so that could be a thing. They are playing Auburn later today, so we'll see. Let's see. Notre Dame's playing Louisville. Louisville, no slouch. They're 5-0, potentially could be 6-0 next week. We'll see. And then Cal and Oregon State. Oregon State should win that one though. I really feel like after last week, I feel like Notre Dame. I don't know why they just came to mind right now. I think they gotta start. They have to win this weekend. They have to beat Duke. Because then it doesn't get any easier. You go to Louisville. I mean, I still feel like Notre Dame is the better team. And I feel like Notre Dame has the potential to win the rest of their games. I really do feel like they could win out. But I guess, like I always say, we'll see how that all plays out. I'm going to finish this freaking beer, man. This stuff's good. Oh, down the hatch. Oh, yeah, it's good. Another thing, because we'll just leave this in kind of headlines, but like Damian Lillard got traded to the Bucks. So we'll see what happens there. I know the Heat were probably a little discouraged by that because I know they wanted Dame, and everybody kind of thought they were going to go that way, but it is what it is, man. Crazy stuff happens. It's a 3-team trade. But yeah, good for Dame. I mean, he's going to have a shot obviously now with Giannis. But I mean, like the NBA, I wish I watched it more. I mean, I still love my Bulls, but I just don't watch it as often. But hockey season is right around the corner, ladies. Can't wait. Can't wait to see what my Avs do. Still sucks about Gabriel Landeskog, but it is what it is. Let's crack open this next one, eh? I'm excited about this one. This is called Aromatic. And if you could guess what brewery it's from, Arrowlodge. Still hoping one day we'll work something out. I know we tried to way back when. I think that was originally going to be like episode 3, I think. But yeah, hopefully we can work something out with Mike. Obviously, I know he's super busy, opening up a new tap room and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully we can do it. But Arrowlodge is located in Covina. I love their logo. It has like deer antlers, and then like instead of like the deer face, it's a hop. It's pretty freaking awesome. But yeah, they're based in Covina. Sorry if you guys heard some honking right now. Middle of the day, stuff happens. Let's see here. Yeah, Aromatic is a double IPA brewed with Citra and Mosaic, and it says scratch and sniff on the can. As soon as I saw this can, I went down to Total Wine the other day because I had to grab a beer before I was recording with Brian Wilder from Drinking Buddy. So I saw this can, it just immediately pulled me in. I was like, let's do this thing. And plus it's Arrowlodge, so. And also the Great American Beer Festival went on the other day. Oh yeah. I'll give a full rundown of that next week. I didn't really get a chance to, I was looking, I saw quite a few. I know Lost Winds won a bronze, I believe. I'll have to go back and check, but I know there's quite a few Southern California breweries that won some stuff. Oh, look at this bad boy. Coming in at 8%. Let's do it. Let's do it to it. Cloudy. Murky. Oh, yeah. You definitely, like, it's the Citra. Honestly, both. You get, oh, yeah, you get both right off the bat. It's just like what's the, instead of, you go, pow! He's go, pow, pow! Yeah, it's like punching you right in the nose. Oh, I love that. And what a beautiful head on it. That's freaking gorgeous. Here we go. It's good. But that was like, wasn't expecting like that flavor profile. I'm trying to figure out what it is because it does have not a hint of sweetness. It's just above a hint, like a pinch maybe of sweetness. But man, that's pretty freaking good. Even on the side, it looks like it has a tag on it that says certified fresh. But yeah, that's solid. I'm gonna give it an 8. That was a really good beer. I'm trying to pinpoint what that is. And I'm burping over here. Excuse me. Oh yeah, I'm going in one more time. I need one more. I'm sticking with the 8, but I am trying to pinpoint what that is. What like flavor that, or not flavor, but what that note is. It's on the back end. It's, it's that aftertaste. I'm trying to I can't figure it out. Oh well, it's really good though. So I mean, if you guys have a chance to pick these up, Aromatic from Arrowlodge, Pure West from Pure Brewing, definitely do it. But all right. So next week, actually, as of I think October 3rd, so that is what, Tuesday. Baseball playoffs start, baby. And this is, and I think I'm sure I've said it, I don't know how many times, but playoff baseball might be my favorite, like, type of, like, postseason or anything like that. Like, it's just the best. I mean, like, and when your team's good, you gotta, like, you go in excited and stuff like that, and then when you get bounced in the first round, like last year, you're like, oh. But I mean, I'm ready for the anxiety. I ain't gonna lie, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to just who sings this song, Cowboy Take Me Away, but it's like Anxiety Take Me Away, probably. It's a Cowboy Take Me Away. Yeah, I know I can't sing, so go ahead and laugh at me all you want. But yeah, honestly, it's getting tight. I want to say, like, because tomorrow's technically the last day of the season. I know the Marlins had a suspended game. Not sure if they're still going to play that with the Mets. I feel like if the Marlins do clinch today, which it honestly feels like they will, because the Cubs only have 2 games left. Marlins could potentially have 3 games, but they have a 1.5 game lead in the wild card. So as it stands, as of right now, in the wild card, it's Philly in the National League. It's Philly, Arizona, Miami. Miami with a 1.5 game lead over the Cubs. With technically 3 games to play, the Cubs only have 2 games left. So if the Marlins win today, they clinch. It's done. It's over with. So they probably wouldn't play that makeup game with the Mets. Out of the wild card teams, I mean, Philly is a scary one, and that's who the Braves would play in the NLDS if they beat Arizona. Arizona doesn't hit a lot of home runs, and it's like a tale of 2 teams. I feel like Philly is kind of a home run or strikeout team, and they got a couple of aces. I mean, I love Nola and I love Wheeler. Shout out to Kozoto Photo, my dog, a big Philly fan. So shout out to him. Arizona is the kind of like, they don't hit a lot of home runs, but they do hit a lot of singles, doubles, stuff like that. They know how to manufacture runs as well. So I mean that, Corbin Carroll obviously is good, good kid. I feel like they could be. It just depends on what Phillies team you get. Honestly, I really feel like, but I feel like the Phillies have the better team, so the Phillies should move on. But you never know. In a 3-game series, anything can friggin' happen. Like if you look back to last year's wild card series when it was the Cardinals and the Cardinals had them dead to rights in game 1. And Phillies came back and was at the top of the 9th, made something happen, and eventually went on to the World Series and lost to Houston. But still, like, sometimes it takes one freaking play. Like, I could honestly go back to, was it Braves Dodgers in 2020, the COVID year? And Marcelo Zuna ended up scoring. They thought he scored a run because it was a tag up because he was on third, but he didn't actually touch the base. After that, the entire series shifted. Sometimes it's one play like that. And I know some people listen, they're like, well, how could one play make a difference? One play can change an entire series. Look back to with the Yankees and the A's, going back to like the Moneyball days. Like that one play by Jeter to get, was it Giambi out or whoever it was that was trying to cross home? And that entire series shifted. Because if not, yeah, the A's would have, probably went on and friggin' won that series. And it would have been in the A's and I think the Angels in the ALCS. I mean, one play can change somebody's life or change a team's life. I mean, it could give them that kind of confidence to just moving forward, especially with a team like Philly, where you just like they crush. Like you got Harper, Schwarber. Schwarber is Mr. either strikeout or dinger. He's got 40 plus home runs, and I don't know how many strikeouts he's hitting. 198, maybe 200 now. I'm not too sure. So I mean, if Arizona has a chance to win, they really gotta pitch. So let's see here. And then Milwaukee would play Miami, as long as the Marlins don't fall apart. And one thing I do want to say about the Marlins, they will not die. They just keep on going and keep on finding ways to win. And that could be a scary team too, because the last time they won one was 20 years ago in 2003. I'm not saying the Marlins are going to win or anything like that. So don't hold me to that. But I just feel like they find ways to win. So that would be the wild card round. I really feel like Philly moves on. And you know what? I do love Milwaukee's rotation. But I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna say Philly and Miami move on. So that would mean, which I feel like is the way baseball does it. Like whoever the lowest seed should have to play the highest seed, but they don't do it that way. So if Miami wins, they would play the Dodgers, and if Philly wins, they would play the Braves in a 5-game series in the NLDS. That's gonna be fireworks, people. That's gonna be freaking fireworks. But I'm excited for it. Like I said, I'm ready to get hurt again, or I'm ready to have my anxiety levels go through the roof and have them win. For the Braves, though, it is going to be tough because they got to hope. Max Fried has had blister issues throughout his entire career with the Braves. They got to hope that blister does not come back, because if it does, they're in some trouble, because they're not going to have Charlie Morton in the NLDS. They're going to have Strider, and then they're going to have to piece together stuff if Fried isn't able to go. But we shall see. I will talk about the NLDS next week. By then, I think there will be like a game in, I believe, because I think the games start on Saturday, Sunday. So we'll see. But now we got the American League. And before I do that, I'm going to have another drink of this Aromatic. Off topic real quick. One thing I wish, and I think me and Brewski talked about it, I wish Arrowlodge would bring back the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. The one with Bret Hart on the can. The American League's still kind of, up in the air, because Texas could potentially lose 2 games, and Houston could end up winning the division. But, I mean, I don't know if I see that happening. But as of right now, so obviously Baltimore clinched. Good for Baltimore, man. Good for the Orioles. That's good for the organization. I'm really happy for them. Texas is right there in the West, and then Minnesota in the Central. Minnesota's all but that's done and over with. Tampa has clinched, their wild card spot. I mean, and honestly, with all this kind of crap they've gone through this year, good for them. I mean, good for them to be able to keep this thing going, especially as how hot they started, and then kind of level off, but now they're coming back around again. They got a great rotation. Toronto in the 2 spot, Houston with that last spot. And I believe Houston's playing the Diamondbacks right now, so that, obviously playoff implications there. Seattle's only been 5-5 over the last 10. Houston's been 4-6. So Houston's kind of limping into the playoffs, but hey, don't sleep on an old dog. They're not old, but Houston. I mean, I still feel like they can make some noise. At the beginning of the year, I believe I picked Tampa and the Braves in the World Series. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. So as of right now, so it would be Minnesota against Houston if it ended today, which it should be ending tomorrow. Well, it'll all be settled by tomorrow. I mean, but Minnesota and Houston. I think Houston wins that series. So in a wild card series, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to play all 3 in Minnesota if it takes that. But Minnesota, they don't hit home runs. I mean, and in the playoffs, I feel like when you have those teams that can kind of, you may be down a run or two in the 3rd, 4th, 5th inning. But when you have those home run hitters that can kind of change momentum in a game, like Houston has, like you guys got like Altuve or Tuves. You got Bregman who can hit home runs. You got Alvarez who can hit home runs. And you got scrappy guys like Pena, which was, I think it was MVP last year in the World Series or the ALCS. I can't remember. Toronto, though, too. I mean, I feel like Toronto's got some kids, and they're only going to get better. So, I mean, shout out to the AL East and the NL East because they're both going to have 3 teams in the playoffs more than likely. But yeah, so it would be Tampa against Toronto. I think Tampa's got the better rotation, so Tampa wins that series. And I think Houston beats Minnesota. So then it would be, let's see here, it would be Baltimore against Tampa Bay. Be a hell of a 5-game series. I'm excited for playoff baseball. I really can't wait. And then we would have Houston against Texas. What a way to kind of settle things. Even though Texas is probably going to win the division, but what a way to to kind of end it. And that's kind of the same thing with it'd be kind of crazy because in the NLDS it would be, at least for in the American League it would have Baltimore playing a division rival, and then you would have Texas playing a division rival in Houston, and then in the National League you would kind of have that in a way. I mean, but you would have Atlanta against Philly again in the DS. But like I said, we shall see how it goes. I'm super excited. I can't freaking wait. I just love playoff baseball. Bravos, don't let me down. I mean, you got the offense. The only bad thing is it's reminding me of last year and pitchers getting hurt at the end of the season. And that's the last thing you want. So, I mean, I think Strider's going to go game 1 and then he's pitching today. But we shall see. All right. Well, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you guys listen to Kate and I talk. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Like I said, she was absolutely phenomenal. She killed it. And I'm really excited to, just to kind of doors because now since I'm a member of the Guild of Beer Writers, like through podcasts, I'm really excited to kind of see what kind of doors this is going to open. And being able to meet these people and be able to talk to them and hear their stories. And to me, it's just really exciting because it's something that, you can be proud of, to be honest with you, because I mean, they it's not they just accept you and just accept you. They have to listen to your stuff and make sure you know what you're talking about and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, I've always wanted this platform to be not just about, it is about the beer, but it's also about, and I know I've said it a bunch, but hearing about everybody's story, man, like, hearing how, people got into it because, it's about the brewers, it's about the owners, but it's also about us, man, like the guys that don't brew and the people that just kind of just want to go to a brewery and enjoy it. And wondering, man, like, what did it take to make this? And for the people that, it's like, oh, going to all these different places. But I don't want to make it like, don't want to get all sentimental, so let's just, I'm going to end it here. Enjoy the interview with Kate. She is an amazing person. You can follow her at Kate Bernot on Instagram. And enjoy the interview. And stay tuned for the outro. If that's what we're calling it. Either way. Alright guys, welcome back to the Tap Room. I am your host, Mike, and I have a very special guest on today. Her name is Kate Bernot. Just wanted to make sure I said that right.
Nailed it.
Alright, sweet. How you doing today?
I'm really good. Thank you for having me. Like I said, it's really nice to have this kind of a conversation at the end of my work day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of relaxation and therapy, like you said.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you're in Montana, right?
Yeah, I live in Missoula, Montana, which is so beautiful today. It's like 75 degrees and sunny and getting really cool at night into the upper 40s. So it's like beautiful fall, the kind of weather I live for.
Oh, I bet the landscape out there is just like, that the views and everything like that are probably just gorgeous in the sunsets, I'm sure.
It's the prettiest place I've ever lived by a long shot. No disrespect to other places I have lived, but yeah, it's super beautiful. And the ability to be hiking within like 10 minutes of leaving my house or be on a river, any of 3 rivers within like 10 minutes of my house is pretty incredible if you are into outdoorsy stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. And just a little bit of background. So you are the director of the North American Guild of Brewers, Beer Writers. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. I got a little nervous, I guess.
That's okay.
But can you tell us a little bit about the guild and what it all entails, I should say.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I love talking about the Guild. So the North American Guild of Beer Writers is a professional organization for people who cover beer from a media standpoint, really in any format. Obviously, writers is in the name, but in recent years, we've also added podcasters, people who cover beer for like TV broadcast, radio. So really any beer media. There are more than 200 members, not just in North America, but actually we have members globally who just want to be part of what we do. And like I said, we're a professional development organization, so we are here to support those writers and those media creators, whether it's, for some of our members, beer writing is their full-time job, such as myself. Yeah. Some people do it as a side hobby. Some people do it as a portion of their income. So whatever, some people don't make any money off of it at all. So however people are covering beer, we are there to provide them networking, professional development, opportunities to learn, opportunities to share best practices. Some of our major initiatives are our annual writing and broadcast awards, which are coming up in October. So those annually honor the best in beer coverage in like 15 different categories. And then we also each year do the Diversity in Beer Writing grant, which is a grant that funds stories about diversity within beer and all of its forms and challenges. So that's really just helping tell stories that might not otherwise get told and paying writers to tell those undertold stories. And both of those are really important to the Guild and to me personally. And I could go on, but that's basically the Guild in a nutshell.
No, and that's awesome. I love that because, the only reason I honestly, I've been doing podcasting now for a few years, but started recently doing it on my own, doing, this show. And I talked to Alexander Gates, who's a, Guild member, and him and I were did a show together a few weeks ago, and he told me about it. I was like, I had no idea. So I
love that.
Yeah. So we got to talk about it, and I'm a member now. So
welcome. Heck
thank
yeah.
you. Yeah. So it's just a really cool thing and an outlet, and that's how I found you. And I just so happened to reach out, and you said yes, and here we are.
Of course. Yeah. And thank you for reaching out. Thanks for being a member of the Guild. That's what it's really all about. Like as a freelancer, I know that sometimes, you kind of feel like you're on a little bit of an island. You don't have necessarily coworkers always in the same traditional sense. And especially if beer isn't your full-time job, you're just kind of over here doing it on the side. And sometimes it feels like you could use some people that are also doing the same thing to bounce ideas off of, ask questions about how to do your freelancer taxes, get those 1099s filled out, like any of that. That is what our guild is here to help with. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And you're the director of all of it. How did that come about? Or was it something that had you been in the guild for a while, or was it just something that just sort of happened?
Yeah, I had been a member for quite a few years and was sort of helping out informally with some leadership stuff. I was writing the weekly newsletter, which another great thing the guild does.
Yeah.
You get a weekly newsletter about beer stuff and what the guild is up to and different opportunities. I was writing that anyway. And then our former director, Brian Roth, was stepping down as the director after like 5 years in that post. He was just like, it is time for someone else to take this over. And I really value the guild and wanted to see it continue to thrive. And Brian had done so much, as had the leaders before him. And I just thought, someone needs to come in with that same level of energy and keep this thing going. So, I've been doing it for a little bit less than a year now. It is a lot of work, but it is really awesome.
I bet. It sounds super fulfilling to be able to, just have that, that commitment and that passion towards it, especially when it's something, you truly love. So,
yeah, I mean, I've benefited a lot from being a member of the guild, and it's really about like making those connections with other people like we're doing right now. And I get to meet so many wonderful writers and podcasters and authors through it. So, never a dull day in that role.
That's awesome, though. I mean, because that's just, that's why one of the reasons I love doing this, because I get to talk to people that, might be across the country or might be in Canada or all these different places. And 100%. You get to and if you get to travel to those places, you'll remember, or I think for listeners, they can go back to that episode oh, this person said to go here. So, you kind of get that aspect to it too. So I love doing that.
Yeah, there's always some writer in the guild who knows someone that I need to talk to or knows a place to go to that I didn't know about, and that just having that network is so important. So yeah, I agree with that completely.
Definitely.
I am hitting people up for travel recommendations all the time, and now I'm going to hit you up also in the future. So sorry, not sorry.
Sounds good. Oh, no, you're good. So I always, because one thing I always like to ask people as well is their journey and getting into craft beer. How did that happen for you? I'm going to crack open a beer though real quick. I don't want to.
Yes, do it. What are you drinking, by the way?
This is Brewery X. My brother works for them. He's in distribution, but he also does the can artwork. So this is their newest can. He just did.
Oh my gosh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Heroes in a full pint. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Oh yeah. So I had to pull that one. It's a West Coast. It's 7%.
That's awesome. So my journey to beer, I guess it really starts in high school and college. I was always working in restaurants, front of house. I worked as a server in a really nice French restaurant. I worked at an amazing deli when I was in college. I was always kind of around food and service, and loved food and beverage, loved the people that were around it, loved flavors, loved how happy good food and beverage made people. And as I was in school for journalism, knew that's what I wanted to do. But I thought I wanted to maybe be a food writer, and I was writing about food after I graduated. And I was writing about food for a few publications in Chicago, when suddenly there was this little thing happening called craft beer. And all these new breweries were opening. And at the time I was working for a newspaper in Chicago and doing dining and drinks coverage. And I was like, oh, wait, this is my beat. I can cover craft beer. And I really got into it from the journalism side and just really fell in love with the product and with the people who were so welcoming. I mean, I didn't know anything about it at that point, right? And I was just a reporter, and brewers would be like, oh, well, if you want to show up and like watch a brew day to learn, like you can just come on over. And I thought,
that's awesome.
Who does that? Who just like invites you to come to their workplace and hang out? So, you know, that was where it started for me. After working for that newspaper, I went on to work at Draft Magazine, which doesn't exist anymore, but which was an awesome little beer magazine. And that's when I really was like, okay, beer is my full-time focus. This is my job. I got my BJCP certification. I really started taking like the judging side of it seriously. And you know, then beer writing became my life.
That's
my career.
awesome.
Yeah. So it was a little bit accidental, but I guess it's kind of how it is for most people, where you just fall in love with the liquid and with the people that are part of that. Beer people are kind of their own wacky breed. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And I mean, that's what I love about it too, because you can, like you mentioned before or mentioned earlier about how they asked if you wanted to go for a brew day. And I feel like, yeah, people in the craft beer community really just like, they're so welcoming. And it's, I mean, I haven't had knock on wood, I haven't had one bad experience or anything like that. Yeah. And most of the time, if I message somebody, a lot of times I'll get something back. Sometimes, you know, it might not be for a while because, I mean, people are busy and stuff like that. It's understandable. But that's one thing I love about this community. It's like, it's not like, oh, this is our thing. you can't do this kind of thing.
Totally. I mean, at the time in Chicago that I was starting to write about beer, I was also covering like food and cocktails and wine. And, you know, I love my cocktail people, nothing against them, but like there was kind of an air about the cocktail people and certainly an air about the wine people and the Scotch people and whatever. And like beer people were like, come hang out and watch our brew day. Also, we play Dungeons and Dragons on Thursdays. I was like, these are like my, you know, like my metalhead dorky Lord of the Rings loving nerd
That's
people.
so cool.
These are my people. Like, so, I think there is something a little bit special about beer being a little more like down to earth maybe than some other things can be.
That's awesome. So you like Lord of the Rings, I'm assuming then?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I just outed myself.
No, it's okay because I have Aragorn's sword in my closet.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like really old and like the two, I don't know what you would call them, the two little things on the hilt are broken, but I mean, it's still there. I even put it in a fire one time just because I thought it'd be cool to see how it looked in a fire. But
hell yeah. Also, the broken sword is like part of the whole thing. Yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I'm a huge Lord of the Rings guy. Like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, even like D&D. D&D is fun. I've only played a couple of times, but my brother made his own game called Beer Quest, and it was kind of like D&D inspired, and it was really fun. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That's so cool. See, these are the kinds of things that you only get into with like beer people, really.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and that's so cool that they invited you to do that, play D&D and all that sort of stuff, and
good crew.
In Montana, I was just kind of curious what the craft beer scene was like. Because I know Chicago is kind of big. I actually have talked to a few people that are from Chicago, and it's like exploded out there. Yeah. But when you think of Montana, I mean, there's so many different places where you like think like, oh, or is the craft beer scene just as big out there as it is in other places? So tell us about that.
Yeah. Montana has amazing craft beer, but you might not know that if you don't come visit here because very little of it leaves the state. So it's sort of like a well-kept secret, I like to think. Obviously, I think the brewery that most people know from Montana is Big Sky Brewing, which makes moose drool. So if you live west of the Mississippi, you can get moose drool. It is a delicious brown ale with the moose on the label. Big Sky is the largest craft brewery in Montana, but there are probably, I want to say at latest count, there are close to 100, something around there. Oh, wow. But they tend to be really small. Like, you can go to some really tiny towns in Montana, and there is a craft brewery there.
Awesome.
Just, serving the local community, maybe not even canning or anything like that, just all on site, kind of a brew pub model. So it's kind of great that that's the vibe here because it really is like catering to local preferences.
Yeah.
And some of the beer is super duper good. It's not like these are just podunk little places not taking it seriously. There's some really good beer happening in the state.
That's
Usually
awesome.
a couple medals at GABF every year for some Montana breweries. The thing that I like to talk about when I talk about Montana breweries is their obsession with Scotch Ales, which are a style you really don't see a ton of elsewhere. But because Kettle House Brewing, also a pretty big brewery in Montana, their flagship beer is a Scotch ale called Cold Smoke, and was one of the kind of early pioneering craft beers here in Western Montana. When other breweries started opening, they also made Scotch ales because it was like, that's what drinkers thought craft beer was. And Moose Droll is not a Scotch ale, a brown ale, but dark and malty and brown and rich. And I think a lot of drinkers here in Montana still have this affection for like darker beer styles. And, obviously we drink our share of IPAs and all that, but you will find a lot more like brown ales, porters, and Scotch ales in Montana than I think you would see somewhere else.
That's awesome. That sounds, don't mind to say, it sounds good. I'm not the biggest Scotch ale person, but I do like browns, reds, stouts, or porters and stuff like that are delicious.
Yeah.
Because I know there's some people think like, they only have like stouts a certain time of year, but I mean, I feel like you could, if it's a good stout, I feel like you can have it any time of year.
100%. Yeah. And like, Montana is kind of a cold place most of the year. But even in the summer, it's hilarious. I will see people, I do a lot of like river rafting and stand-up paddleboarding and things on the rivers out here. And I will be on a river when it is like 95 degrees in the dead of August, and I'll see some dude like fly fishing and like holding a can of Scotch ale. And I'm just like, what are we doing? Get yourself a crispy little Pilsner, my dude.
Oh yeah.
But people really have like an affinity for them out here and drink them year round. And I think it's awesome and quirky and great that we have our own little kind of local flair in that way.
That's cool. Because there's always kind of like, like Chicago, like they have like their pizza, like their tavern style, then they have their deep dish, and Scotch ales for now everybody will know Scotch ales in Montana.
Scotch ales and bison burgers.
There you go. But I've had bison before, and it is delicious. I like bison burgers. Yeah.
Plus, when you travel, right? Don't you, like you're saying, don't you want to experience like a beer scene that's a little bit different from yours? Like, man, when I, if I'm in San Diego, like I am only drinking IPAs. Sorry, like that's
of course,
but or like down in Florida, I'm having like every crazy fruited sour thing with vanilla and sparkles, and that's like the fun of. And in Texas, I'm drinking awesome craft lagers. Like, it's just what you do when you travel around. So I like that beer scenes still have like some localized differences.
Oh, for sure. And that's one of the things, I like to do too whenever I'm going somewhere. But I'll always try to get something maybe not in my wheelhouse, but I'm also not going to be like Untapped, where it's sometimes nothing wrong with Untapped, but there are times where like, it's not my style, and then give it as like a 1.
Right.
It's like,
Yes.
It's like, I don't ever like to rate that sort of stuff, because if it's not my style, then I have no business doing that. But
sure. But it's good to get outside your comfort zone and like.
Oh, for sure, and try different things. Totally. Do you have like a favorite style of your own to drink? Because I know, because coming from Chicago, is it like doing? Or is that where you're originally from?
I grew up in New Jersey, actually, but I lived in Chicago for 8-ish years. So yeah. Favorite style. I gravitate a lot towards German lager styles. My grandmother was born in southern Germany in the Black Forest region, so maybe there's some genetic predisposition there.
It's built into the DNA.
Right? Maybe, but if there is a German Pilsner, a Helles, a Schwarzbier on a menu, like, I'm going to order it. Doppelbox in the winter. All of those. The full spectrum of lagers. I know people are like coming around on lagers, which is amazing, but it feels like they're always talking about just like really light Pilsners, which is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, what about Schwarzbiers? What about Doppelbox? What about like some of these Baltic porters, like richer lager styles are cool too. So I don't know if that's a real answer, but that's my answer.
Oh no, it's a great answer because I mean I kind of a lot of times when I talk to people, like I do feel like you were saying, like lagers, pilsners, like all that sort of stuff, whether it's like a Czech pilsner or anything. I feel like they're really making a comeback. And I mean, not to say that they ever went away, but I mean, just hazies got so popular as like West Coast did, prior to that. So, I mean, it's good to see that, like, when I go into a bar, especially during the summer, like you mentioned before, there's something crispy on the menu there to pick up.
100%. Yeah, it's been so cool to see the like the lager thing really happen in tap rooms, and to see Czech lagers. And over the summer in Montana this year, I saw a lot of rice lagers, which is super cool. Like,
love it.
Yeah, super duper light. You can drink like 7 of those
oh, yeah.
on a hot day.
Easy.
Yeah, so it's cool to see more of those, and to have a little, like, I love a hazy IPA, but to have some other options in the mix is always a great thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's, I mean, something light and refreshing during the summer, like, goes down easy. Even like, because I know some people I talk to like they don't really care for like sessions, but I was like, man, it's a lower percentage. You can crush a bunch of them. I mean, and they're
totally.
pretty good. Some of them are pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, like I was saying, spending a lot of time outdoors, either on rivers or also like backpacking and hiking, like I gotta kind of like keep my wits about me. Like, I'm not I'm trying to have a beer after, maybe I like get up a mountain or like while I'm on the raft or whatever, but like I need to kind of be with it and aware of what's going on, and still like keeping myself safe and focused. So,
for sure.
two lagers on my paddleboard or something, like that's great. One double IPA and like I'm in trouble.
I know. I mean, especially if you're doing something like that. I mean, if you're having like a double or a triple or even like 2 of those, you're like, hey, yep, I should probably stop where I'm at just in case.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you never know.
I do not have the double IPA until I set up my tent and the fire is going and I am like where I need to be. I am settled.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine what that nature is like out there in Montana. I mean, you see pictures of it, and stuff like that. I mean, my mom lives in Kansas, but I've never been to like Montana or anything like that. I've always wanted to go because I mean, it just looks like so like majestic.
It's beautiful. Yeah, you gotta come visit like Glacier National Park or Yellowstone, or if you don't feel like dealing with the crazy crowds at the national parks, like there's so many beautiful places to go that are just empty, like that are just quiet with equally beautiful mountains. Yeah,
that's all I want to do is sit next to a river or a lake and crack a bunch of brewskis and have a good time.
Well, if you make it out this way, you hit me up for recommendations. I'll tell you where to go.
Sounds good. Are there any other breweries out there that are kind of like maybe like up and coming? Because I'm assuming, like, because you said there's like over 100, they're like nanos and micros and stuff like that out there now too.
They're really tiny, but there are also some bigger ones that people may have heard of. Uber Brew is in Billings, Montana. They tend to win a couple GABF medals every year. Okay. They make really excellent beer. Draftworks Brewing here in Missoula was like the Great American Beer Festival Small Brewery of the Year a bunch of years ago. They also make really delicious beer. A brewery I think is really cool, and I'm actually wearing their t-shirt right now like a big dork, but Ronan Co-op Brewery is in the very tiny town of Ronan, Montana. And they are, as their name implies, cooperatively owned. So, like, people from the community are owners and can appoint people to the board of directors and that kind of thing. They make really, really good beer in a really, really tiny little town, and their tap room is so nice. And I got to know them because one of their, like, founding board members, Bob Hall, is like a Grandmaster level 3 BJCP judge. I
Oh, wow.
have had like the honor of judging with him a couple times, and he is just such a wealth of brewing knowledge, and, you know, him being on the board, like their recipes are super dialed in. They have an excellent head brewer as well. And like, yeah, they just make really, really great beer in like a really tiny town, and they don't even can it or anything.
Okay.
And it's cool. It's great.
Yeah. And sometimes I find like those smaller breweries are the best too, because like, you know, because they don't, you know, they don't like mass produce. Everything is, you know, built, like, well, not built, but made with love. And it's like
Totally.
and yeah, there's a few up. My sister lives about 3 hours north of me, in a smaller like little town, and they have like 2 or 3 little breweries, and they don't can at all, and they have a brown ale. It's phenomenal.
There you go.
Yeah.
What is the name of this brewery with the great brown ale?
Kauea.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, and it has like their I think their name on Instagram is like Kauea Tap Room, but they have like their it's a crow is like their little logo.
Cool. Sweet. Yeah, I mean, there's something really special about like having to drink the beer at the tap room. Like, can't get it anywhere else. And like generally it's really fresh, and yeah, I love those like hidden gems that are you might kind of find by accident, or just someone tells you and then you're like, oh, heck yeah, like I know the secret now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Do you have any we actually know I was thinking we might have to do a beer swap. I mean, a beer mail thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, I would love that. I love sending people Montana beer care packages.
Oh yeah, I'm down, and I'll send you a Ninja Turtles and a few other ones from
yes, so. That'd be awesome. Yeah, the UPS guy is probably like, what is this girl mailing all the time? And I'm like, snow globes. I don't know.
Like, whatever you do, don't shake it.
Yeah. Not my precious snow globes.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, do you ever like be obviously being in like working, you know, being around the tap rooms and like, you know, being in breweries and stuff like that, like, do you have any fun kind of tap room stories?
Oh man. I think, I mean, there are so many, like, tap rooms there are some that are like very generic, and then sometimes you get to one and you're just like, this is the weirdest place I've ever been. A very unique one that comes to mind is in Livingston, Montana, a really beautiful, cool little town, not that far from Yellowstone, and has like a really historic, cool downtown. Anyway, Livingston is great. There's a brewery there called Neptune, and despite being in like a town in Montana, it is like entirely like sea themed. So they have a gigantic aquarium that takes up like an entire wall of the tap room. They also serve sushi as their food. And there's like boat buoys and nautical things everywhere, and you're just like, am I in Florida? Like, what is happening? It is so bizarre, but like really great. And I think, I mean, I don't know, like, also their beer is good. They won Brewery of the Year at the Montana Brewers Festival this past summer, so the beer is good. Like, the vibe is totally unique and kind of strange, but in a way that's like awesome. I love stuff like that. So I love when you go into a place and it's just like completely a little wacky and different than what you expected. But that's like the beauty of beer. You know, they don't all need to be industrial warehouses with metal stools. Like, that's also fine, but it's cool when you find a weird one.
Oh no, and that's the best part, because then you can explain. I feel like word of mouth is still obviously the best way of the best advertisement you can get,
for sure.
And when you can, you know, when you tell somebody like, oh dude, you got to go to this brewery, like, you have to check this place out because it is unique. It's not like every other place you'd go to. And I'm such like I grew up like on the water pretty much. Like, I was always at the beach as a kid. So hearing that, like, if I'm ever in Montana, makes me want to go to this place. to go to see the aquarium and to see all the buoys and stuff like that. Because my stepdad always had the decor, that kind of decor.
There you
around
go.
the house.
See, yeah, you know exactly. You can picture exactly what I'm talking about. There's
yeah.
starfish. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so wild because the rest of Livingston, most other bars you go into there, it's like big elk and moose head on the wall, big fireplace, wood, fly fishing stuff. And then there's this place that's like, nope, this is underwater themed, and here you are.
That's so freaking cool, though.
Yep, come check it out.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. In Montana, I guess, so do they can there at Neptune?
They have started to. I have definitely seen some of their I don't know if they make it all the way to Missoula, though, because Livingston's like 3-ish hours from here.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say, I won't make you go all the way over.
If I was going to be in the area, I would pick them up. But I don't think I've seen their cans for sale in Missoula yet. But I believe I've seen cans on like Instagram and stuff. So I think they do can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if somebody was going to Montana, I know we talked about like Yellowstone and all the different places they could go. Are there any other places that maybe that aren't like as touristy, like, that, off the beaten path in a way, I guess?
Yeah. Basically everything that isn't Yellowstone Glacier, or like the big ski resorts, like Big Sky is a huge ski resort, Whitefish Mountain. So those are the things that people probably know about. My recommendation, if people are like really into hiking and camping, but don't want to do it in the craziness of Yellowstone and Glacier, adjacent to Glacier National Park is the Bob Marshall Wilderness, which is a massive wilderness area, adjacent to Glacier, so like extremely similar, beautiful mountains, kind of the same landscape, but not a national park, just a protected wilderness. So way fewer people, way fewer roads. It's pretty wild in there, like tons of grizzly bears. Bring your bear spray. Don't say I didn't warn you. But like you can really go deep into the Bob Marshall and not really see that many other people. So if you're into like some truly wild stuff, that or the Beartooth Mountains are adjacent to Yellowstone, kind of in a similar way, where it's like a beautiful area but not part of the national park, so you're not going to see hardly as many people, and it's going to be almost equally as spectacular. So both of those would be ways to kind of see gigantic, gorgeous mountains but be around fewer people.
Okay, that sounds awesome. I mean, especially because I always wondered, like, with obviously the success of the show, it's like, and no free. I'm just kidding, Yellowstone. I actually really love that show. I was gonna say no free ads, but I'm just kidding. I don't get paid for this. Did that, like, I'm assuming because the show was so popular, did it just drive like tourists there like crazy, or is it?
It does seem. I mean, Montana was always like a very, I think, tourism heavy state, but it does feel like Yellowstone has just increased it from what I can tell. I do not live terribly far in Montana terms from the ranch where it's filmed, Chief Joseph Ranch, which is outside of Darby, Montana. So that's about an hour and 15 hour and a half south of Missoula. And I have driven past it because I like to raft on some rivers near there, and driven past the ranch, and people are just like taking pictures like outside of it and stuff. And like, I don't know, that's definitely something. But I think also like Yellowstone was happening around the same time, was like blowing up around the same time that the pandemic was like letting people work remotely. There have been a lot of people who have like moved here recently with like remote jobs because now they can live wherever they want. So it's changing, it's changing some of the dynamics here in the way that a lot of other mountain towns have been changed, Jackson Hole, etc. And like I didn't grow up in Montana, so like I'm part of the problem. I should not speak like I was, you know, born and raised here. I also came here, but who can resist it? It's so whether it's the show Yellowstone or whether it's like the rivers or the mountains, like there's it's hard to resist, you know. Can't blame people.
Yeah, and I'll admit, because I mean I've only watched like the first like 3 seasons, but where my love for kind of like just, you know, Montana came from was kind of just like watching like the animal shows, some of them on like on National Geographic, or like seeing stuff on like on the Disney, I was gonna say the Disney Channel, but Disney Plus. I mean, on that sort of stuff. So I mean, it's just like I said earlier, it's just majestic. Like it's really pretty. Like, and you wanna. That's one of the things I love about Kansas. Like when I go visit my mom in Kansas, like there's so much green everywhere.
Totally.
And it's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love that it's like 85 degrees here all year round, and there's some amazing craft beer. But it's still like sometimes when you want to, like, I would love to just go on like a 2-week vacation and just get away.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
That's the way to do it. And now this Missoula has about 70,000 people in the town, and the University of Montana is here. So it's by no means like a tiny town. Yeah. But it's the smallest town I've ever lived in as an adult. So like when I was moving here, I was like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go. I've always lived in bigger cities. And now I'm like, you could not get me to move back to Phoenix or Chicago. I mean, I love Chicago in particular, but like, I don't know. I've adjusted, and now I don't know if I could go back.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable too. Cause I feel like once you kind of connect with a place and what's the word? Like once you kind of connect with that place, you kind of become that place, and you want to stay there. Well
said. I do love to travel for beer stuff though, because like as good as the Montana beer is, I will not say that we are on the cutting edge of beer trends or styles. So like it's cool to, I mean, it's amazing to go to like a San Diego, a Denver or whatever and be like, oh, this is what's happening. Like this is the new.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And if you're ever out here, I mean, we'll have to get together, have a beer.
Absolutely. Love
hit
that.
up a couple breweries and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
My girlfriend, that's one thing I love about her is like she's into craft beer as much as I am, so we can plan trips around breweries.
Hell yeah.
So it's like, thank you.
It's hard when there's only one of you that's into that.
Yeah.
And the other one's like, why are you dragging me?
Yeah.
No, that's a good match for sure. And that's a fun way to plan. Yeah, it's a really fun way to like see a new city. I mean, it's one of the first things I do in a new place is figure out where the breweries are.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I mean, you don't always have to catch a buzz, but I mean, that helps. It helps. Yeah.
And also like breweries, like people in tap rooms have like the local intel too. Cause if you like, you're like, oh, where should I eat? Or like, what should I do? Where's the good hike? Whatever. Like they're going to tell you. So
for sure.
That's always helpful.
Yeah. How often do you get out to San Diego?
Not as often as I want. It has been years since I was there. So like since before the pandemic. So I am way overdue for a trip. It's high on my list.
There you go. Well, if you come out, we'll have to meet up. Maybe we can go to some places in San Diego, but in Vista, which is I'm sure not very far away. There's Brewery of Virgin. I don't know if you've ever had any of their beer. Oh, their beer's so good.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay.
I go down there pretty often. So if we do like a beer mail thing, I'll get you a couple from there, from Helia as well. There's there's so much great beer down there. It's just crazy.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I consider San Diego one of the most spoiled beer cities. You guys are so lucky with everything that you have access to there. Yeah.
I know. There's so much stuff. I mean, I'm about just under 2 hours away, but I try to get down there as often as possible.
You're part of the greater San Diego diaspora.
Yeah. pretty much, yeah. But I don't want to keep you too long because this has been super fun for me.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me.
I wanted to ask, because I always ask everybody on the show, do you have a hangover cure? Do you experience it? Because some people just don't get them. So
those people are the luckiest people on earth, and please tell me your secrets.
Yeah.
No, I definitely get them, and I try to be getting them less than I used to as a younger person. But no, as much as I like hate to recommend this, I feel like it is the thing that works for me, and I'm always kicking and screaming about it, but like I have to get out and like get moving and like do something physical. Okay. Like I'm not saying go out and like run. I'm not running 10 miles, but like like a walk, like walk the dog, or like ride my bike for 15 minutes. Like I think I just need to like move things around in my body.
100%.
And as much as that hurts in the moment, I feel like usually at the end of like a walk, a little bike ride or something, I'm like, okay, I can probably exist in the world today. So it's usually that, and then a shitload of eggs with Trader Joe's chili crisp on them.
Trader Joe, I mean, can you go wrong with anything at Trader Joe's?
I put that chili crisp on everything.
Was that the Frank's Red Hot commercial?
Yeah,
when
I put that shit on everything. Yeah.
I love that.
Exactly. So yeah, those are mine.
Okay, and I totally get it too with when it comes to the exercise, because I mean it didn't happen all. Oh, okay, so from like 25 to like 30, I was like I wouldn't really drink during the week, but on the weekends it was either like my brother worked for Stone during that time, so it was like Stone and then Jameson. So
okay,
it was and I would have Saturdays where I'd go meet my dad and we would go hiking, but it's like not like a grueling hike, just a nice, easy, like 2.5 mile hike.
Yeah.
And I would be usually by the time we're about halfway through getting to the waterfall and then coming back, I was good.
Yeah, it's like
it helps for whatever reason.
It really does. It's like I think it's like circulating the blood, and then like you usually, or at least I'm always like drinking more water when I'm exercise. So I'm like getting my fluids, some fresh air. It's just takes your mind off of it for a second. So yeah, I totally feel that. I'm glad that you are not like, wow, this girl's crazy.
Oh, no, not at all. Because, I mean, every once in a while, I don't get them as often as I used to, but I think it's because I take a lot of vitamins now.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm like, that helps. I guess. You know, as I get older, I was like, I should probably take some vitamins.
Look at us being responsible.
I know. And so we can do that sort of thing. And so I don't get them as often, but when I drank a lot of whiskey, I would get them a lot more. Now I feel like I'm just drinking craft beer, and I'll throw in the occasional shot. Don't get me wrong, but
it happens sometimes.
Oh yeah. Last question I always like to ask everybody is, if you're pairing one thing with a beer, is it going to be wings, a pizza, or a burger?
I gotta go burger because the beef out here is incredible.
I can only imagine.
Our burgers are so good. And I guess I could like make some kind of sensory argument, like, oh, like the richness of the malt connects with the char on your burger. I'm not even going to pretend that that's what's motivating this. I just like burgers the best, so that's what I'm thinking.
I would probably do the same.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the beef here is incredible. Our burgers are so freaking good. Like, even if you go to like a dive bar, like the burger is probably going to be pretty good. And I also love sandwiches. So
who doesn't?
I gotta go burger on that.
I mean, you worked at a deli, right?
I worked at an incredible deli that like made me such a sandwich snob for life. Yeah.
I love that. And so what was your go-to sandwich at the deli?
So the deli had a smoked turkey with Gruyere cheese and aioli, garlic aioli on it.
Yeah, that sounds
on like phenomenal. A baguette. And it was magical. The sandwich was my favorite thing on earth.
Oh, I love turkey. If turkey is like, done right like that, there's a deli out here. Oh my gosh, what's its name? It's been in a bunch of movies too. Cantor's. I was like, oh my gosh, my brother would have like smacked me across the face if I would have not remembered that. But I get it's turkey, half turkey, half pastrami on rye. And I will get a side of gravy and a side of au jus. So I'll put the Dunkin' au jus and put gravy on top, French fries, and the whole thing. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so if I come visit you, we're doing sandwiches and breweries. That's the plan.
Down. There's so many, so we'll hit it all up. Well, even over at Brewery X, we will drink and eat for free. So there we go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
They got really good pizza.
Nice. Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, honestly, Kate, this has been super fun. I
Yay.
really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for inviting me. And yeah, it's been cool to like learn about a new beer podcast that I want to listen to. Do you have, besides your own, so like it's, yeah, like I said, it's great to learn about a new beer podcast that I like didn't know about before. What, is there one other podcast you want to shout out that I should be listening to?
One I love is Craft Beer Republic.
Okay.
Yeah, Craft Beer Republic. Really nice guys. I did. They had me on. Was it a couple of weeks ago? I was on 2 episodes.
Cool.
Super fun guys, and they're funny, and like they love the industry. They like to do like live shows and stuff like that too.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
Greg Jones, I believe is his last name. I hope I remember that correctly. But just really nice people. One, I think
Sweet.
Greg is in California. They call him Flexi. He's in Wisconsin. So like it's cool, but they make it all work, and
that's awesome.
It's awesome.
Sweet,
yeah.
Cool. Well, I will put that one on my list.
Yep. But like I said, it's been a blast for me, and I love to be able to just have a genuine conversation with a really nice person, and you're awesome, Kate. I really appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, I appreciate it, and I will. I'll see you around the guild, huh?
Oh yeah, see you around, and you're gonna make your way to San Diego. So we can chit chat for a minute off air. Sorry, everybody, you don't get to listen to that part. But thank you again, and I'm gonna finish this beer up. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Kate. She was awesome. I mean, obviously being able to hear all that stuff, talking about Montana and everything like that. It was a lot of fun, and especially like hearing about different places, all around the great old U.S. of A. and all the different breweries around and all that sort of stuff. I mean, gotta love that, right? I did want to, last one before we go, did want to talk about the songs that we had, or that I listed. If there's a song out there that would made you want to drink. Let me get that pulled up here. Probably should have had it ready. That's all right. All right, so we had a few of them. A couple of them I don't really know what they are. By Bone Shack, put Yo Quiero Chupar by Super Llamas, or Llamas, I'm assuming that's pronounced. Highwayman by the Beer Locker. Tragos Amargos by Ramon Ayala, by ALX Realty. Brewskis said, beer never broke my heart. Classic. Lena says, or Angelina says, Corridos. We Do Craft says, any country song about beer. It's true. It's very true. But all right, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Gotta think of a sports quote. I don't play defense. Bill Murray. Space Jam. Take care, Dad.